This is the introduction to the graphing calculator. I'm using my school issued calculator, which is a TI 84 Plus Silver Edition. All that really means is that it's one of the newer editions, and mine graphs in color. It's really important to familiarize yourself with the buttons on the calculator. You've got the on button right here, and then this keypad is your numeric keypad. All of your operators, so by operators I mean division, multiplication, subtraction, addition, those are all going to be these yellow keys right here on the right. They're yellow on mine, they might be a different color on yours. You might notice that there's no equal sign on these calculators, but we use enter instead. One other thing that's really important to know is that this symbol right here is for the negative, not for subtraction. The calculator does not recognize the subtraction symbol as a negative, and that'll be really important to know. So when you turn your calculator on, you just push the on button, and it will always come up to whatever screen you were at last, or at least whatever calculations you did last. So if I don't want to look at this anymore, I can hit the clear button right here. So this screen is just a great screen. It's the screen that comes on, and it's a screen for calculations. So if I wanted to do 9 plus 5, I would do that and hit enter. The answer appears on the right. If I wanted to do 9 plus negative 5, you have to make sure to hit the negative button at the bottom and then hit enter. And there's your answer, 9 plus negative 5. If you want to see what I mean, if I did 9 plus and then I did the subtraction sign instead of the negative and hit 5, I hit enter, and it gives me an error. And that's a syntax error, and that's just a fancy way to say that I pushed the wrong button. So if I use this down arrow and go to, if I hit enter, the calculator goes back and blinks over where the error was. So it tells me that that was the wrong symbol to use there, and I should use the negative instead. Something else really important to note about the calculator is that each button actually has multiple functions. So if you look on your keypad, like above the 9, for instance, there is a blue letter W behind it, and on mine, a green letter Q. And each button, so if you look at this button with X squared, each button has probably at least one other function, but many have two. So next to X squared, if you look behind it, there's the square root sign in blue and the capital letter I. Mine's in green on my calculator. So what that means is that you can actually use different functions of each button. So for example, this X squared button lets me square a number. So if I wanted to square the number 9, I would type 9 squared and hit enter. And I know 9 times 9 is 81. But let's say I wanted to take the square root of 81 instead. I need that blue symbol that's not written on the button, but is written right behind X squared. So I would go to the blue button that says second, and this allows me to access the second menu. I would hit second, and then I would hit this button, and now I have the square root sign. I could type in 81 and hit enter, and it tells me the square root of 81 is 9. Similarly, we won't use the alpha screen very often, but if I touch the alpha screen, that will give me the letter behind each button. So if you look on the word math, there's the letter A. If you go to the word apps, there's the letter B, and so on. All right, this is a pretty brief introduction. The last thing I just want to go over, I'm going to clear this, but we will be using these calculators to make a graph. So all of these buttons up here that are right under the screen, these are all buttons that we're going to use most commonly when we're graphing. I'm going to go over those in more detail in the next video.